This is the first segment from the latest episode of the Cohn Zohn. The audio and the video is a little glitchy at first. My dad and I powered through it, and it got better as time went on. Please bear with us. Dad, what are we talking about this week?
Well, I'm going to jump into our first topic, and it's about geniuses, offensive geniuses to be precise. In the time that I covered the NFL, there were two offensive geniuses that I was aware of. Bill Walsh, in fact, that was his nickname, the genius, and Joe Gibbs. They were way ahead of the pack. Andy Reid currently may be a genius. I don't know. I wouldn't give Kyle Shanahan that designation right now. He's young. He hasn't won a Super Bowl, but he's terrific. I call him a genius in training. But there are certain things he does right now that are at the genius level. Can you tell us, your viewers, and me what two of them are?
Yes, absolutely. I would consider Kyle Shanahan a genius play designer in two ways, in terms of running plays and play action passes. No one creates bigger holes in the run game than Kyle Shanahan. And no one creates more wide open wide receivers and tight ends and running backs than Kyle Shanahan, which is remarkable because in the NFL, you're usually talking about very small margins, small holes, wide receivers who aren't wide open but have a good matchup. That's the most you can ask for. Kyle Shanahan gets players wide open like it's high school. And any coach who can do that is special. And the other coaches throughout the country, high school, peewee, college, pros, know they have to watch Kyle Shanahan weekly. Like, that's required reading. Like, if you're an English major, you have to read Chaucer. If you're a football coach, you have to watch, especially offense, you have to watch Kyle Shanahan every week and see what new ideas he has because you can use them and should be. That's what Jim Harbaugh said. He said, my homework every week consists of watching Kyle Shanahan stealing his ideas. It's not stealing, it's just homework.
What a compliment that is. I totally agree with you. He can get receivers open at will and big chunks of running plays. When he doesn't get a receiver open, I'm amazed because I expect him to do it every single play.
Agree. And let me be specific, like how he does it. His dad, Mike Shanahan, was doing the play action pass in the 80s and 90s, that bootleg away from the run. Kyle Shanahan added a little wrinkle to it. What it usually is you fake the run one way and play action bootleg the opposite way and throw away from where the run is. What Shanahan does is he'll take a blocker, usually a tight end. Maybe it could be Kittle, it could be Juszczyk. He'll have him be part of the blocking for the run play. And the defense forgets about him. So when the quarterback bootlegs the other direction, that blocker will kind of leak out and run up the sideline where the defense isn't. The quarterback's bootlegging to the right. Well, this blocker's leaking up the left sideline, and he'll often catch passes that are wide open. Juszczyk has done it. Marquise Goodwin has done it. Kittle's done it. And it's a really clever way to get 11 players on defense to totally forget about a receiver. And you see all kind of offenses in the NFL and college steal that from Kyle.
You would assume that Kyle Shanahan is thinking about and designing plays 24/7.
24/7. I bet he's been doing it since he was in middle school.
Right. It's the way like we would doodle and make all-star teams. When you were a kid, you were always making all-star teams. He's doing that with plays all the time.
Right. And I'm sure that he would doodle and show it to his dad and say, hey, Dad, you got to use this play. It's good. And I'm sure his dad would use them sometimes. And then he became a quality control coach for John Gruden. And I'm sure he would draw up plays and give them to Gruden, and Gruden would use them sometimes. But from Shanahan's perspective, probably not enough. He's probably thinking he could have been able to do this since he was 12 years old, which is pretty much how I feel about sports writing. And now that he is the head coach of his own team, no one has to tell him, no, we're not going to do this week. It's not a good idea. Every idea he has is a good idea, and I'm sure he loves it.
I'll tell you one thing. It's interesting you bring up Gruden. Shanahan is so far beyond John Gruden. He studied under Gruden, but it's a case where the pupil has gone so far beyond the teacher. And you know what I'm talking about. Gruden is a system coach. He imbibed the Bill Walsh system through Seifert and Holmgren. And he doesn't have much to add to it. He just can do it.
Yeah.
Shanahan didn't get the Bill Walsh system. He got the Mike Shanahan system, but he's tinkered with it. I mean, he's within the system, but he's done way more with it than Gruden has done with the Bill Walsh system. Would you agree?
I would totally agree. No question about it. No question about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Final question. So we're giving Shanahan credit for genius qualities, but not full-fledged genius. Do you feel he has it within him to be a genius at the level of the two people I mentioned, Gibbs and Walsh?
I think he absolutely does have it within him. I think he does. I think what we've seen so far with Kyle Shanahan is a young coach who's extremely faithful to his dad's style. I mean, I'm a young writer and I'm extremely faithful to your style. I love the way you write. And I think when I was, especially in my 20s, I wanted to emulate it. As you get older, you get more of a sense of your own style. And I think Kyle Shanahan has all the creativity to be able to branch out and do his own things. He's still only 40 years old. When he's 60, he could be doing drastically different stuff. Look at Andy Reid. When Andy Reid was 40, he was a very faithful disciple of Mike Holmgren. Now he's closer. Now he's in his 60s, and he's gone off in his own direction entirely. So it could happen with time. I think it absolutely. I think he definitely has it in him.